Mr. Deeds is about a man who inherits a business from his deceased relative. The romantic interest is played by Winona Ryder. I like this movie. It's one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies, so I recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. 4 stars. 51st Dates is my second favorite Adam Sandler movie. My favorite Adam Sandler movie is Bedtime Stories, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. 51st Dates is about a man, Sandler, who falls in love with a girl, played by Drew Barrymore, who suffers from amnesia in which she forgets what happened the day before. I don't want to spoil it further, so I'll just say that I recommend watching it if you haven't already. 4 stars. Click is one of my least favorite Adam Sandler movies. However, it's nowhere near as bad as Pixels or Jack and Jill. Click is about a man who spends more time working than with his family, and he gets a remote control that controls his timeline and his life. I don't really recommend this movie though, unless you're interested in watching it for Christopher Walken. 3 stars. And just a shout out to my third favorite Adam Sandler movie called Big Daddy. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. The Black Phone was directed by Scott Derrickson, who also directed Sinister and stars Ethan Hawke, who played the lead in Sinister as well. It's about a town where kids keep going missing. Then our main character, Finney, gets captured as well. Finney is played by Mason Thames, and his sister Gwen is played by Madeline McGraw. Their performances were pretty good. Ethan Hawke was good too, but I think the best came from Mason. This was an alright movie for me. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I'm giving it 3 stars. I liked Sinister more, honestly. Sinister is about a 4 for me. Unfortunately, I think horror movie fans will be let down by this movie. It's well made and well told with a good cast, but there was nothing really new or interesting happening. Even though this movie wasn't for me, I'd still recommend it. I just had some problems with the story and other stuff I'm not going to get into because I don't want to spoil it. Let me know if you saw it and what you thought of The Black Phone. Thanks, bye. Nope was directed by Jordan Peele and stars Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer. This movie is about a pair of siblings who are trying to capture something strange happening in their town on video. It's really tough not giving away spoilers for this movie. However, if you've heard of it, you probably know what it's about. I think the standout for me was the effects. I enjoyed this movie. I kept gasping and covering my mouth. I thought I'd end up looking away throughout it, but I didn't. I actually just got more engaged with it as the movie continued. The opening sequence is great and offers you something to think about during the first act, but I didn't love the first act. The build-up kind of dragged a bit too much for me. I still really enjoyed this movie, so if you want to check it out, you should. Although it is rated R, so no kids allowed. I'm giving Nope 5 stars. It's closer to 4, but I enjoyed it enough that my rating was pushed up. Thanks for watching. Bye. I'm going to do a double Daniel Craig review, starting with No Time to and then Knives Out. This is a James Bond film that I felt was very boring. For an action movie, there wasn't enough action to keep me interested. I like the parts with Rami Malek. That was about it. It's not really worth seeing, and I'm giving it 2 stars. Knives Out was directed by Rian Johnson and stars Toni Collette, Jamie Lee Curtis, Chris Evans, and Daniel Craig as the leading detective. This movie is a murder mystery. There's some words you can't say on TikTok, unfortunately. It's about a detective investigating the murder of a wealthy man. All of his family members are suspects. This is a good movie. It keeps you on your toes, and it's fun trying to guess who did it. I guessed right away on my first watch, which felt pretty good. I rate this movie at 3 stars and recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Thanks for watching, and you can check out some more of my reviews on my TikTok. Bye! Ready or Not was directed by Matt Bettinelli, Ulpin, and Tyler Gillette, and stars Samara Weaving and Adam Brody. It came out in 2019, and it's about a woman named Grace who marries into a wealthy family. The family has a tradition in which they play a game on the wedding night. This is a fantastic movie. It's really well done and interesting. The cast is amazing and I adore the script. The ending to me is so great and satisfying. However, there's just like a little issue I have with the movie, but it doesn't change my rating at all or my feelings on the movie. I love this movie so much. If you haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend it, and I'm giving Ready or Not 5 stars. Thanks for watching. Bye. I was rewatching Game of Thrones and decided to do a review of it, so here it is. Enjoy! Game of Thrones first aired in 2011, and its last episode was in 2019, finishing with 8 seasons. It starred Sean Bean, Emilia Clarke, and Kit Harington, to name a few. This show has a large and phenomenal cast. The show's lead writers were D.B. Weiss and David Benioff. The show was an adaptation of George R.R. Martin's novels called A Song of Ice and Fire. Game of Thrones is about a fictional past where we follow the lives of 4 different families who are trying to rule over the 7 kingdoms on the Iron Throne. The families are the Starks, who are the main focus of the show, the Lannisters, the Targaryens, and the Baratheons. The first season starts off a tad slow until something major and surprising happens, which changes the entire course of the show. The first 5 seasons are the best for me. I also love 6. 7 starts to drop off a bit, but I still love it. Season 8 is where the show goes from a solid and strong 5 stars to a 4. Season 8 is not only disappointing in its execution, but it has several problems with the characters that completely change who they are as people. I'm not going to go into spoilers, even though I want to. I'll just say in conclusion that there's a major battle that's built up throughout the entire show that you can't even see because the lighting is far too dark. The person who ends up ruling over the 7 kingdoms in the end is disappointing as well, although that person is objectively the best person to rule. Overall, this is an expertly well done show, and even though season 8 is terrible, the acting, set design, costuming, and effects are still superb. It's definitely worth watching if you're curious and haven't seen it yet. Thanks for watching. Bye. This is my review for the Matrix series. The Matrix came out in 1999. Its sequel, The Matrix Reloaded, and third film, The Matrix Revolutions, came out in 2003. All 3 were written and directed by the Wachowskis. This series stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, and Lawrence Fishburne. The 4th film, The Matrix Resurrections, came out in 2021. It was written by David Mitchell and Alexander Heumann and directed by Lana Wachowski. The first film in this series is one of my favorite movies. The Matrix is a very interesting story about a man named Neo trying to break free from the simulation he's in known as the Matrix. I love pretty much everything about this first movie. 5 stars. Unfortunately, the following films are not as good as the first to me. The second and third are tough to tell apart. They kind of feel like the exact same movie. Both are rated 3 stars for me. The 4th film is the worst in the series, and I honestly only recommend watching the first 3 films. Resurrections is enjoyable enough, but a huge letdown for fans, and I'm giving it 2 stars. So even though the first film in the series is one of my favorite movies, I'm still giving the series as a whole a 3-star rating. What do you think about the Matrix series? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye! I'm going to review the Marvel series, starting with the Thor movies. The first Thor movie was directed by Kenneth Branagh and written by Ashley Edward Miller, Zack Stentz, and Don Payne. It, along with the rest of the series, apart from Thor Ragnarok, star Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Tom Hiddleston as his brother Loki, and Natalie Portman. Portman is not in Ragnarok. Mark Ruffalo is there instead as the Hulk. This first Thor movie is about Thor being sent to Earth from Asgard and his journey to return home. He meets Jane, played by Portman, who is a scientist and his romantic interest throughout the series. I like the first Thor movie the least in the Thor series. A lot of people strongly dislike the second movie, The Dark World, but I like it more than Thor. This first movie is a tad boring and very predictable. It has some good moments, but it's not as much fun as the rest of the series is. I'm giving it 3 stars. Thor: The Dark World is about the Ether, which is the reality stone, attaching itself to Jane, and Thor helping to get it out of her. It was directed by Alan Taylor and written by Christopher Yost, Christopher Marcus, and Stephen McFeely. It's a pretty fun movie. It's not one of the best Marvel movies, but in my opinion, it's not one of the worst. I'm rating it 3 stars, just like the first Thor movie, but I did enjoy it more.
Thor Ragnarok is about Thor trying to escape the planet Sakaar so he can defend Asgard from his sister Hela, played by Kate Blanchett, who is attempting to rule as queen. It was directed by Taika Waititi and written by Eric Pearson, Craig Kyle, and Christopher Yost. Ragnarok is the best and most fun of the Thor movies to me. It's really creative, and Hemsworth's performance is my favorite in this movie. The parts with the Hulk are my favorite, and they're what makes the movie the best in the Thor series. I'm giving it 5 stars. Thor Love and Thunder was also directed by Taika Waititi, who co-wrote the movie with Jennifer Caton Robinson. It's about a villain, Gore the God Butcher, who is attempting to wipe out all of the gods. Jane, now the mighty Thor, aids Thor in his journey. I really liked this movie, though it's not as good as Ragnarok. It's still very fun, sad at times, but fun overall. 4 stars. Overall, I'm giving the Thor movies 4 stars, and I can't wait to see more of Thor in future Marvel movies. Thanks for watching, and check out some more of my reviews on my TikTok. Bye!
Everything Everywhere All at Once was written and directed by a pair known as the Daniels. It stars Michelle Yeoh as Evelyn, a laundromat owner and mother of Joy, who is played by Stephanie Hsu, and wife of Wayman, played by Kiyu Kwan. I don't want to give anything away about this movie. This movie has a very interesting story with an excellent cast, which includes Jamie Lee Curtis. I would suggest going into this movie without watching any trailers. I knew very little about what this movie would be like, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm giving Everything Everywhere All at Once 5 stars. Thanks for watching my video. Bye! I'm reviewing all of the Marvel movies. I started with the Thor movies, and now I'm doing the Iron Man trilogy. The Iron Man trilogy stars Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark and Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts. It's about a billionaire who creates a flying suit and becomes a superhero. The first one was directed by Jon Favreau and written by Mark Fergus, Hawk Ostby, Art Markham, and Matt Holloway. I quite like the first Iron Man movie apart from the last 40 minutes. The ending is very bland and isn't as good as the rest of the movie. I'm giving it 3 stars, though it is closer to 4. The second Iron Man movie was also directed by Jon Favreau and written by Justin Theroux. Iron Man 2 is one of the worst Marvel movies in my opinion. It's very forgettable, and while it is for the most part fun, it's also kind of boring. I'm giving it 2 stars. The third film was written and directed by Shane Black, who also made one of my favorite films, The Nice Guys. Drew Pearce was also a writer on Iron Man 3. The third Iron Man movie is pretty good. It's not as good as the first one, but it's still good. I'm giving it 3 stars. I'm giving the series overall a 3-star rating. What do you think about the Iron Man trilogy? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye! The Captain America trilogy stars Chris Evans as Steve Rogers, Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, and Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes. It's about a man, Steve, who is attempting to fight in World War II, but is too weak, so he gets transformed into a strong, muscular hero. All 3 films were written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and the first Avenger was directed by Joe Johnston. The first Avenger is good. It's not one of my favorite Marvel movies, but it's still enjoyable. I'm giving it 3 stars. The second and third films were directed by Joe and Anthony Russo, known as the Russo brothers. I love The Winter Soldier and Civil War. They have interesting stories with amazing action choreography, and they're both a lot of fun. I'm giving both The Winter Soldier and Civil War 5 stars. Civil War is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love the debate and what the movie is about, and it's great seeing the heroes face off against each other. Is Captain America your favorite Avenger? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. Bye! For this video, I'm reviewing the Marvel movies that are not part of a series. I've already reviewed the Thor movies, Iron Man trilogy, and Captain America trilogy if you want to check those out on my TikTok. I've excluded movies like Captain Marvel as it's getting a sequel. So this video has reviews for The Incredible Hulk, Black Widow, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and Eternals. There is a sequel planned for Shang-Chi, but I'm still putting it in this video. The Incredible Hulk was written by Zach Penn and directed by Louis Leterrier.
It stars Edward Norton as Bruce Banner and Liv Tyler as his romantic interest, Betty Ross. This movie is alright. It's not terrible, although the effects are pretty bad, but I love Edward Norton, so it's nice seeing him in this movie. I'm giving it 2 stars. Black Widow was written by Eric Pearson and directed by Kate Shortland. It stars Scarlett Johansson as Natasha Romanoff and Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova. In my opinion, this is the 3rd worst Marvel movie. Even though I love Florence Pugh and David Harbour, who is also in the movie, it's just terrible. They didn't save it. I'm not going to watch it again, even in a marathon. I'm giving it 1 star. And that's coming from someone who was very much so looking forward to this movie when it came out. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings was written and directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. Dave Callahan and Andrew Lanham also aided in creating the script. It stars Simu Liu as Shang-Chi and Awkwafina as Katie. This is a pretty good movie. I didn't really have any problems with it other than it being a tad boring and predictable at times. I'm giving it 3 stars. Eternals was written and directed by Chloe Zhao with Patrick Burleigh, Ryan Firpo, and Kaz Firpo also aiding in the script. It stars Gemma Chan, Selma Hayek, and Angelina Jolie. Marvel's Eternals is my least favorite and, in my opinion, the worst Marvel movie. It's far too long with nothing really happening in it that holds weight, and it's not a very fun movie, which is what I'm looking for when I watch something from Marvel. I'm giving it 1 star. It was very forgettable. Actually, that's kind of a common theme amongst these 4 movies, is that they unfortunately are forgettable and kind of boring. So what's your favorite Marvel movie? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching my video. Bye! For this video, I'm doing 5 quick movie reviews. Gravity came out in 2013 and was directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who co-wrote the movie with his son Jonas Cuarón. It stars Sandra Bullock as Dr. Ryan Stone and George Clooney as Lieutenant Matt Kowalski. Gravity is about a pair of astronauts who have to deal with debris hitting their space station. This is a beautiful film which for the most part takes place in space. It's an exciting movie that feels a tad claustrophobic at times. I quite like this movie and I recommend it. I'm giving Gravity 4 stars. Ferris Bueller's Day Off came out in 1986 and was written and directed by John Hughes. It stars Matthew Broderick as Ferris Bueller, Alan Ruck as his best friend Cameron Fry, and Mia Sara as Ferris's girlfriend Sloane Peterson. This film is about a teenage boy who skips school and has an adventure with his best friend and girlfriend. I love this movie and I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. 5 stars. La La Land came out in 2016 and was written and directed by Damien Chazelle. It stars Ryan Gosling as Sebastian Wilder and Emma Stone as Amelia Dolan. La La Land is a musical romance about a couple who meet and fall in love while pursuing their dreams in LA. This movie is clever and creative and very sweet. I'm rating it 4 stars. Forrest Gump came out in 1994 and was written by Eric Roth and directed by Robert Zemeckis. It stars Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump and Robin Wright as Jenny Curran. This movie is about a man telling strangers a story of his life. This is one of the best movies of all time in my opinion, and I'm giving Forrest Gump 5 stars. Promising Young Woman came out in 2020 and was written and directed by Emerald Fennell. It stars Carey Mulligan as Cassandra Thomas and Bo Burnham as Ryan Cooper. This movie is about a young woman who is dealing with a traumatic past. I thought I'd like this movie more than I did. I'm giving it 3 stars, though it's closer to 4. Thanks for watching this video. Check out more of my videos on my TikTok. Bye! This is a review of Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy. For my other Marvel reviews, check out my TikTok. Spider-Man Homecoming was written by John Watts, Christopher Ford, Jonathan Goldstein, John Francis Daley, Chris McKenna, and Eric Sommers. All 3 films were directed by John Watts. This trilogy stars Tom Holland as Peter Parker, Zendaya as MJ, and Jacob Batalon as Ned. This first movie in the trilogy is about Peter trying to become an Avenger. I love this trilogy and Homecoming is such a great movie. It's funny and a lot of fun. 5 stars. Far From Home and No Way Home were written by Chris McKenna and Eric Sommers. Far From Home is a pretty good movie. It's about Peter wanting to take a break from being Spider-Man, so he goes on a school trip to Europe. I don't like this movie as much as Homecoming or No Way Home. I'm giving it 4 stars. No Way Home is about Peter and his friends trying to get into MIT. This movie is great, it's clever, a lot of fun, and it's exciting. I'm giving it 5 stars. I'm giving the series overall a 5-star rating. It's clever, creative, and a lot of fun. So check it out if you haven't seen it yet already. And let me know what you think about it in the comments. Thanks for watching my video. Bye! For this video, I'm reviewing the 4 Avengers movies from the MCU. The Avengers and Age of Ultron were written and directed by Joss Whedon. This series stars Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson, Jeremy Renner, and Samuel L. Jackson. The Avengers came out in 2012. This movie is about a group of superheroes who team up to defeat Loki. This movie is a lot of fun and it's cleverly written. At the time of its release, it was the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time. I'd recommend it if you haven't seen it yet, and I'm giving it 5 stars. Age of Ultron came out in 2015. It's about Bruce and Tony creating an AI that wants to wipe everyone out, and the heroes teaming up to take care of it. This movie is my least favorite Avengers movie. There are some good moments, and a lot of people dislike the relationship between Natasha and Bruce, but I liked it, though it did seem to just come out of nowhere. And even though there are some good moments, it's not the best Avengers movie. I'm giving it 3 stars. Infinity War and Endgame were written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely and directed by Anthony and Joe Russo. Infinity War is about Thanos collecting all of the Infinity Stones so that he can wipe out half of all life. This one and the first Avengers movies are the best of the Avengers movies for me. There's a lot to like about Infinity War. It's really well written with an interesting story and great use of characters. I'm giving Infinity War 5 stars. Endgame is about the aftermath of what happened in Infinity War. It's currently the 2nd highest grossing film of all time. I really like this movie, though it does have a few problems with it that I can't really go into without spoiling. I want to give it 5 stars because that's how much I enjoy watching it, but honestly it's closer to a 4. I recommend this series if you haven't seen it yet, but you probably have seen it. Thanks for watching. Check out more of my Marvel reviews on my TikTok. Bye! The Ant-Man and the Wasp trilogy was directed by Peyton Reed, and this first film was written by Edgar Wright, Joe Cornish, Adam McKay, and Paul Rudd. Paul Rudd was a writer on all 3 films. The Ant-Man trilogy is about Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, passing on the Ant-Man suit to Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd. Evangeline Lilly plays as Hope, Hank's daughter and Scott's love interest. She plays as the Wasp in the series. Ant-Man came out in 2015. This movie is pretty good, although I can't stand the antagonist. I'm giving it 3 stars. Ant-Man and the Wasp came out in 2018. This is an alright movie. Unfortunately, you can just skip it in a marathon and you won't miss anything for the rest of the MCU. 2 stars. Quantumania just recently came out and I saw it in theaters yesterday. It's a good movie. I like it more than Ant-Man and the Wasp and not as much as Ant-Man. I'm giving it 3 stars. Check out some more of my Marvel reviews on my TikTok. Thanks for watching. Bye! For this video, I'll be talking about the shows Loki, WandaVision, and She-Hulk Attorney at Law. Loki premiered in June 2021, after WandaVision premiered in January. It stars Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. Loki is about an alternate timeline that was created in Endgame in which Loki escapes from the Avengers with the Tesseract. I love this show. It's really creative and funny, and the stuff about the TVA is interesting. I'm giving Loki 5 stars. It's closer to 4, but I enjoyed it enough. WandaVision stars Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda and Paul Bettany as Vision. This is my favorite Marvel show, though Jessica Jones comes close. I love the style of the show and the use of black and white at the beginning. I'm giving it 5 stars. She-Hulk Attorney at Law came out last year and stars Mark Ruffalo as Hulk and Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk. I only watched 1 episode of the show and I quite liked it. I'd definitely like to watch the rest. I wanted to mention She-Hulk because one of my favorite Marvel moments happens in the end credits. Captain America, fuck! I don't have a rating for She-Hulk as I've only watched the 1 episode. I recommend both Loki and WandaVision. Thanks for watching my video. Bye. Midsummer came out in 2019. It was written and directed by Ari Aster, who also made one of my favorite movies, Hereditary. It stars Florence Pugh, who plays as Dani, a young girl dealing with something traumatic that's happened in her life. She goes on a trip to Sweden with her boyfriend, played by Jack Renner, and his friends. This is a great horror movie. I love the script, the direction, the cinematography, editing, costume design, and acting. Florence Pugh is great as always in this movie. There's a lot to love about this movie. It's a very cleverly crafted movie, and I don't want to give any spoilers away by accident, so check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I'm giving Midsummer 5 stars. Thanks for watching my video. Bye. This is a review of the Jurassic Park series. Jurassic Park came out in 1993. It was adapted from a novel of the same name, and the script was written by Michael Crichton, who wrote the novel, along with David Koepp. Koepp also wrote the sequel. The first two movies were directed by Steven Spielberg. This series stars Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Chris Pratt, and Bryce Dallas Howard. The Jurassic Park or Jurassic World series is about a dinosaur theme park. The first movie is one of my favorite movies and is probably one of the best movies ever made. It's exciting and very well made with a great and memorable score. The effects, both digital and practical, are phenomenal for the time it was created. 5 stars. The sequel came out in 1997, and the third film came out in 2001. Jurassic Park 3 was written by Peter Buckman, Alexander Payne, and Jim Taylor, and was directed by Joe Johnston. The second and third Jurassic Park movies kind of feel the same for me. It's the same way I feel about the Matrix sequels. I'm giving them 3 stars. Jurassic World came out in 2015. It was the third highest grossing film of all time at its release. It was written by Colin Trevorrow, Rick Jaffa, Amanda Silver, and Derek Connolly, and directed by Colin Trevorrow. I quite like Jurassic World. It has some flaws, but it's a lot of fun. I'm giving it 4 stars. Fallen Kingdom came out in 2018 and was written by Derek Connolly and Colin Trevorrow and directed by J.A. Bayona. This movie is not very good. I like the effects. That was pretty much it. I'm giving it 2 stars. It's not one of the worst movies. I do enjoy watching it, but it's kind of like eating carrot cake. It's enjoyable enough and I'll finish it, but I don't want a second piece. Dominion was released last year. It was written by Derek Connolly, Colin Trevorrow, and Emily Carmichael. Colin Trevorrow is back as the director for this movie. The only thing about this movie that I liked was seeing the original group back together. The effects were also good. I disliked this movie, but it is competently made, so I'm giving it 1 star, though it's really close to being 0. Overall, I'm giving the Jurassic Park series 4 stars, and I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Thanks for watching. Check out more of my reviews on my TikTok. Bye! For this video, I'll be reviewing the Doctor Strange and Black Panther movies. Doctor Strange came out in 2016. It was written by Scott Derrickson, John Spatz, and C. Robert Cargill, and directed by Scott Derrickson. The Doctor Strange movie stars Benedict Cumberbatch as Stephen Strange, a doctor who becomes a sorcerer, and Rachel McAdams as Christine Palmer, a co-worker and romantic interest of Strange. This first movie is one of my favorite Marvel movies. I love a lot about this movie, like the effects, the story, Rachel McAdams, the score, costume design, the set pieces, and of course, Rachel McAdams. I'm giving Doctor Strange 5 stars and I highly recommend it. Black Panther came out in 2018. Both Black Panther and Wakanda Forever were written by Ryan Coogler and Joe Robert Cole and directed by Ryan Coogler. These movies star Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, the King of Wakanda, who is also the Black Panther, a superhero. Lupita Nyong'o plays as Nakia, who is T'Challa's former lover, and Letitia Wright as Shuri, T'Challa's younger sister who becomes the new Black Panther after Chadwick passes away. I like this movie, though the effects aren't the best from the MCU, but I still really enjoyed the sequences. I'm giving it 4 stars. Multiverse of Madness and Wakanda Forever both came out last year. Multiverse of Madness was written by Michael Waldron and directed by Sam Raimi. This is an alright movie. It's not one of my favorites from Sam Raimi, but there's still some good things about this movie. I'm giving it 3 stars. Wakanda Forever was a pretty good movie. It's well made and very respectful towards Chadwick Boseman. I'm giving it 4 stars. Hope you enjoyed this video. Check out my other Marvel reviews on my TikTok. Thanks for watching. Bye. I saw Scream 6 in theaters last week, and I wanted to make a quick spoiler-free review of it. Enjoy! Scream 6 was written by James Vanderbilt and Guy Busick, and directed by Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett. Scream 6 is about the survivors of the previous film moving to New York. This movie was a pretty good installment to the Scream series. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll just say that the best part for me was when they had to climb out of the window on the ladder. I'm giving it 4 stars. If you want to check out my video on the other Scream movies, it's in my movie reviews collection on TikTok. Thanks for watching. Bye. Here are 5 quick movie reviews. Enjoy! Marriage Story came out in 2019. It was written and directed by Noah Baumbach. It stars Scarlett Johansson as Nicole, an actress who gets an acting opportunity in Los Angeles, and Adam Driver as Charlie, a play director in New York. This is a very well-made movie. It's funny without being a laugh-out-loud comedy, and dramatic in the best way. Adam Driver was the best part of this movie for me. He plays Charlie very well. I'm giving Marriage Story 5 stars. A Quiet Place was written by John Krasinski, Scott Beck, and Brian Woods. Part 2 was written only by Krasinski. He directed both films. A Quiet Place is a horror series about aliens that hunt and kill things that make noise. It stars John Krasinski and Emily Blunt as Lee and Evelyn, parents trying to keep their family alive with the aliens running around. These are pretty good movies for me, and I'm looking forward to the next one in the series. I'm giving both of them 4 stars. It Comes at Night came out in 2017. It was written and directed by Trey Edward Schultz. It stars Joel Edgerton, Carmen Iago, and Kelvin Harrison Jr. It's about a family of 3 who take in another family of 3 during a deadly pandemic. I like the way the movie begins, and there are some good things about this movie, but for the most part, I was disappointed by this movie. I'm giving It Comes at Night 3 stars. I just recently saw the Super Mario Bros. Movie in theaters. It stars Chris Pratt as Mario, Charlie Day as Luigi, and Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach. I think it's best to go into this movie knowing very little about the plot. I like this movie quite a bit. It's a great movie for kids and adults too. Luma Lee was the best part for me. I'm giving the Super Mario Bros. Movie 4 stars. Thanks for watching this video. Bye! I just saw Beau is Afraid last night. Enjoy this review of it. Beau is Afraid was written and directed by Ari Aster. It stars Joaquin Phoenix, Amy Ryan, Nathan Lane, and Zoe Lister-Jones. I don't want to spoil anything with a plot summary, so I'll just go into what I liked about this movie. There's some really great imagery all throughout the movie. I love the performances. The scenes were shot beautifully. Without spoiling anything, there's a shot of Beau in a car, and you see him through the windshield. The way it's shot made me feel uneasy in a good way. I think it's meant to make you feel uncomfortable, and it worked for me. Unfortunately, though, there was a lot that didn't work for me. This movie is 3 hours long, and some scenes drag on for a bit too long. There were certain things that made sense thematically, and I liked what they were going for, but they didn't make too much sense logically. I didn't like the way PTSD was portrayed throughout the film as well. I enjoyed this movie, but for the most part I was disappointed by it. I recommend seeing it though. If you're still not interested, let me just remind you that Zoe Lister-Jones is in it. So yeah, see it just for her. I'm giving Beau is Afraid 3 stars. Thanks for watching this video. Check out my other movie reviews in my collection on TikTok. Bye! Here's a quick spoiler-free review of Whiplash. Enjoy! Whiplash came out in 2014. It was written and directed by Damien Chazelle. It stars Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. This is a really well-made movie about a guy who wants to be one of the greatest drummers of all time and gets mentored by an abusive instructor. I love this movie. The close-up shots throughout the film are really well done. Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons give great performances. I like the musical choices and the dialogue as well. This movie was based on Damien Chazelle's experience with his high school band instructor. I'm giving Whiplash 5 stars. Thanks for watching this video. Check out my other reviews in my movie reviews collection on TikTok. Bye!